You asked for it, and we are delivering. Welcome to the one and only All Access podcast, all about your Blue Comets football. Welcome to Beyond the End Zone, Blue Comets football, with head coach Calvin Brown. This episode is sponsored by Coach's Neighborhood Grill.
Welcome to Season 2 of the one and only All Access podcast on your Blue Comets football. Welcome to Beyond the End Zone, Blue Comets football, with head coach Calvin Brown. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you having us here. Appreciate Coach's Neighborhood Grill hosting us tonight.
It's kind of cool when you get to kick off Season 2 in front of a live audience. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
They'll wake up. They'll wake up eventually.
This is awesome to have this.
All right, this episode we're going to tease a little bit. We're going to dive into, we just had a scrimmage against Trinity, and then we're going to also talk about with some interviews with some pretty awesome athletes inside the Blue Comets locker room. And I think we got two really cool guests, Dr. Woody and Dr. Moody themselves, coming up.
Yes, they'll be very entertaining, good interviews for you.
Yeah, I lowered the question count because I'm trying to figure out who takes longer, Moody or Woody on the answers. What do you think?
They both like to talk.
Yeah. All right, year 2, Coach, at AHS, man. What have you learned from year 1? And as you approach year 2, what did you take away from it?
Yeah, after last season, we went back and looked at things, and our guys competed last year, but we were not ready to start winning games. We've got to learn how to win. And this off season, our guys have dedicated themselves. It started in the weight room. As soon as last season ended, the last game, myself and Coach Haney in the weight room, we noticed a huge difference. Then guys started working, they committed, they were dedicated to what we wanted to accomplish, and it carried all the way through spring, up to spring practice. And just the excitement around our entire program. Our senior leaders, which we'll have a few of them here tonight, really stepped up and dedicated themselves in the weight room, and we're determined that this year is going to be different. And I think everybody's kind of seen the difference in our locker room and at practice and things. So we're excited going into this year, just getting that first year under our belt and ready to go into year 2.
Well, 1-9 to the eye is like, but for a stat nerd like me, there's a lot of improvement last year. Look at the amount of running clocks. I think, would you have 1 running clock last year? Yeah,
we had one game where we got mercy ruled to a running clock, and the year before we got there, I think there was 7 or 8. So
I think you were one of them at Providence Grove, weren't you?
Yes, we were. But we were competing in games last year. I think there was 8 games last year that in the fourth quarter we were either leading or within 1 touchdown, and we just could not find ways to win games. But when you're not used to winning, you have to kind of learn how to do that, and that's the hump we've got to get over this year. But we competed last year, now we just got to take it to the next level this year.
Well, I got some stats I'm going to read off. Last year you had 2,306 yards, 18 TDs, 14 interceptions. You were at about 186 total points, averaging 18.6 compared to the 7.5 average the year before. That's kind of impressive. You just doubled the number in your first year.
We did, and that helped us. A lot had to do with that. And we started to score more as the year went because I think our guys kind of got used to our system, our offense.
Give Handy some love on that.
Coach Handy does a great job with our offense, and we were able to build off what they had done the year before, basically 11 more points a game. Which is huge, and a lot of people don't realize that, but that's a start in the right direction, and that's something we got to continue to build off this year.
And tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like at the beginning of the year the run game struggled. It was trying to figure out who was going to be your running back, and then you end up bringing up a freshman who was a standout.
Yeah, we could not run the ball last year, and it really put us in a bind. We have a great passing game. Our receivers and our quarterback are great, but when you have to throw it every play, teams can sit back and they can get pressure on our quarterback, and it made it tough, and it put our passing game in a bind. Once we were able to bring DJ Scott up, he gave us a spark in the running game, which really kind of helped our offense and helped our passing game get going a little bit more. But DJ gave us a spark, along with Quincy Lee, who came along late in the year as another running back, and we kind of had 2 of them late last year.
I feel like Quincy's a sleeper this year. People are sleeping on him. I watched him truck somebody against Trinity. It was pretty impressive.
He's one of the hardest working kids we got, and everything he does in the weight room. He's 1,000 miles an hour. He never goes easy. He's 1,000 miles an hour every snap, everything he does. Sometimes we have to calm him down a little bit because he's going full tilt all the time. So
we're going to put Aiden versus Quincy in the weight room so you can lift the most? I think Aiden's here. What does Aiden think about that?
We have a bunch of strong guys, and Aiden's up the top, Quincy's up the top. We've got some guys that are strong. I'd put a bunch of them up against anybody.
Speaking of against, let's talk about that O-line. A lot of them returning, and you got some big boys up front, Coach.
We do. We've got about eight guys on the offensive line that we feel very, very confident in playing, and we're going to rotate them, and they'll stay fresh. And the good thing about it, those 8 are not kind of our top starters on defensive line, so they're going to stay fresh. We got a couple of seniors. We got Chris Spivey, Nico Otero are 2 of our seniors on the offensive line.
We interviewed Spivey last year.
That's scary. And then we got, we also got some young guys and a couple of sophomores, and Zach Blackwell and Jonah Lester to go along with some juniors, and Boone Hinesley and Caleb Rosenblatt. So we've got a good collection. We also got another senior, Jesse Rangel. So we got 3 seniors and 8 that's going to kind of lead, and then some younger guys. But the O-line up front is going to be the big part for us this year, because if we can run the ball and give our quarterback some time, I think we can put up points on offense.
Let's talk a little bit about some losses from last year. One impactful player comes off top of me is Amari Godwin. How do you feel that role when you lose someone with Amari, who was your second leading in touchdowns behind Woodle? Yeah,
Amari, great young kid, had a great year for us last year, moving to the receiver spot. To replace him is tough because he, like I said, he was a great football player. He did a lot of stuff for us. He was quiet, but great football player. But this year, we returned all the receivers but him, and we've had Trevor Cassidy, who was a backup receiver last year, has stepped into that role, and who is a big spark on offense, very athletic, catches the ball well. So he's another good option for us in the passing game.
Cassidy's got some great cuts. I mean, I think it was a touchdown up the field, very first play or second play, something like that.
When the ball gets in his hands, he can make things happen.
And I want to talk about some of these other receivers while we're talking about offense side returners. You got Ben Luck, you got Aiden, you even have Cheek, and a bunch of other ones coming up. What does it mean to have those vets coming back at that receiver position?
I mean, it's huge. We're going to start 4 seniors at receiver with Elijah and Trevor and Aiden and Ben Luck. Those guys, 3 of the 4, Aiden, Ben, and Elijah, all had 20-plus catches last year, all 3 of them. And that's huge, just to have that experience. They've got that connection with Logan at quarterback, and I think that's going to help them going forward.
Defense. It was a little bit of struggle, Coach. It was previous year, 2022. There's 453 points allowed. Before you, they were allowing 45.3 average. Last year, you brought the number down. 361 points were scored against you, 36.1 average. What did you take away from that? Because I feel like the fourth quarter is where we saw they just get tired. The boys just got tired.
Yeah, a lot. We were 90 points better last year, which is a huge improvement. But giving up 36 points a game, you're not going to win many football games. So that's an area we still got to get a lot better at. And we did last year. We wore down. We had a lot of guys having to go both ways, some guys having to play out of positions. This year, having our numbers up is going to help us. We very few guys are going both ways. We got a couple skilled guys that do, but even then, we got some guys that can give them rest if they need it because we're so deep. So that's going to help us, I believe, just not getting tired late in the game. And I think we can wear other teams down.
3 playing both sides, you said?
Yeah, Ben Luck's going to play both sides a little bit. Aiden Robinson's playing both ways for a little bit. And then Quincy Lee, he'll play a little bit of offense, and he's going to play full-time defense. Those guys are going to play defense. If they need rest, we can get it to them on offense. But because of how deep we are, hopefully we'll still be fine just using those 3 guys.
And your numbers this summer, Coach, I mean, since the season ended, you brag about every interview I've heard, you've talked about how they went straight to the weight room after that last game. What has it been like this offseason?
It's been great. This summer, we're right at 80 guys in our program between the JV and varsity combined. I think our rosters have 40 on each, which is just a great number for us. Last year we was in the 50s. So to increase our numbers on our team by 20-some, I think says a lot about our program and what we're doing and what our players are doing. I think the excitement that they've built amongst the school, and that says a lot about where we're at as a program. Not many people are dying to go play for a 1-9 team, but because of the excitement that's around there, and I think everybody knows that we're going to be better than 1-9 this year, so people are wanting to play football for us.
Well, it's like I always say, if you think you're as good as the team, as you say, why don't you come play and make the team better?
Yeah, and we got a lot of guys that we picked up from our weightlifting class. Get them in the weight room, see how strong they are, how they move around, and we've talked them into playing football, and that's helped out, I think, just giving us some depth.
And how has Dr. Moody handled the extra helmets you probably had to order for all those numbers?
He doesn't care. He says
thumbs up over there.
He says spend the money. If we got the players, he'll buy whatever we need to.
Hopefully I get a helmet, Dr. Moody.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's kick it inside the Blue Comets locker room. We're going to have Grant Handy, offense coordinator, receiver coach, and about 20 other titles to his name. QB Logan Laughlin, wide receiver Ben Luck, Elijah Woodle, and Dr. Woody and Dr. Moody. All right, and we're going to take a little break real fast, and we'll come on back.
This next interview is brought to you by Lakeview Farms Landscaping and Maintenance, Inc. It is your one-stop shop, all things landscape. From turf programs to irrigation, they also offer landscaping design and installation, accent lighting, lawn care, and maintenance. Hardscape installation consisting of paver patios, sidewalks, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces, as well as retaining walls. They are licensed, bonded, and insured for your peace of mind. Lakeview Farms Landscaping and Maintenance is a family-owned and operated landscaping business serving the Piedmont of North Carolina. Call Lakeview Farms Landscaping today at 336-451-0876 or find them online at lakeviewfarmslandscaping.com.
Now it's time to go inside the Blue Comets locker room.
Welcome to Inside the Blue Comets locker room. And here with me is offensive coordinator, wide receiver, newly dad, Coach Grant Handy. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to be here.
We talked about that business card on the first ever episode. Have you had any more titles since then?
We have not added any. I'm keeping it where it is. I'm not planning on adding anything else right now. Keep it here.
Well, you told me that you were going to wait till after the baby was born. So what's the next title? We need to ask Dr. Moody what he can add to it.
Listen, don't give him any ideas. There's plenty of conversations that are had of other things that I can do, but my wife is here, so I want her to hear this really loud. I'm not taking on any new responsibilities for a while. All right, I've got some rules.
That's not what you told me before we came on?
Don't do that to me. Do not do that to me.
So you told me I can't talk about popcorn this year.
Yeah. Listen, I have been told that is off the table. That's something I've done for a long time. So I'm gonna have to come up with some new material for the pregame speech, but I'm sure I'll come up with something before week 1.
It was Nance making the popcorn last year, right?
Nance just got all the information about how the popcorn kept disappearing. But
did he wear the Ric Flair robe while he was giving popcorn to the team?
You know, it's actually rare not to see him in that robe. You'd be surprised. Public appearances, he takes it off, but most of the time at home, he's got it on. Yeah.
Wow, I'm telling you, when he retires, I told him he's got to wear it for that last game as he walks out. And we're going to make a video. We're going to get him rolling. All right, so you and Coach go way back, you and Coach Brown. Where did that relationship start, and what is it built to today?
So Coach Brown gave me my first job at Providence Grove when we were there, and he just kind of has let me take on more and more responsibility since then. So I give him as much credit as I can, anytime that I can, for how great of a job that he's done. But he's done a lot for me as a coach, as a person, as a young man, kind of getting into a profession. He's really done a lot for me. But now we're together all the time. We co-teach weight training classes. Obviously, we basically share an office. I have taken his over. He didn't ask for that, but I have worked my way in. But yeah, so if you see him on campus, you probably see me. It's been like that for a long time, and I hope it stays that way.
That's awesome. And your background a little bit, you played a little bit of college ball.
I did. I played at Catawba College for a couple of years, played some receiver there, and that's kind of where I got my experience of coaching. I had a really good receiver coach that I pulled a lot of things from that held us to a really high standard that really bothered me then. I thought he was a guy that was really tough to please. Yeah. But then I realized that his compliments meant a little bit more because he was a guy that was tough to please. And so I've kind of carried that over. I try to give more compliments than he did, but I like to hold my guys to the same high standard.
I feel like, I know you don't like too many compliments, but you're probably one of the best wide receiver high school coaches I've seen.
Look, man, I appreciate that you think that, and I hope that is true. I will not say that about myself, but I love it. I will say there are probably few people that love coaching receivers as much as I do. I think it's the coolest position on the field. I think it's really versatile. There are people that get away with doing very little coaching receivers, and I like the fine details of things and being pretty strict on what we do. So I enjoy it a lot. So if that comes across, then I'm grateful for that.
And honestly, where did the OC come into play? I know you started out receivers, but then what made you want to take on that role? Yeah,
so I'll be honest. My first experience coaching with Coach Brown, I came into our first football meeting thinking that I knew football, playing college football, and I realized how narrow-sighted I was in terms of the game. I thought they were speaking Chinese the first time I sat in on a meeting. They're talking numbers and techniques and letters and stuff that I just didn't understand. And so it took me a while to kind of get a grasp of that. I felt like I had a good idea of the passing game, but as I learned the run game more and more and started to understand fronts and defenses and more than just the back end of the defense, Calvin got a little bit more comfortable and allowed him to have something taken off of his plate. So he wears a lot of hats as a head coach, and him having to worry about one less thing is good for him.
That's how I feel when I come into y'all's coaches meetings. I'm Chinese. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's a lot of technical stuff, but at the end of the day, it is move the ball past the white line with the G next to it.
I just remember rock with it in practice.
The rocker step. Yeah, that is Aiden Robinson's favorite move at the top of the route for sure.
I'm going to ask you the same question I did, Coach. What did you take away from first year at Asheboro? What did you learn? What did you try? And you're like, that didn't work, and you're taking it into this year.
I feel like last year we started to gain traction. You could see that things were starting to work, especially as the season went on. Coach Brown alluded to it, but it took a little while for everyone to kind of understand exactly what we were doing. You know, between terminology and plays and just concept of what we do, that takes a little bit of time to figure out and break old habits and start new habits. And so going into this season, again, Coach Brown mentioned it, these guys have taken it on head on to get better in the off season, to change themselves physically, to mentally get prepared for this upcoming season. And I think we're going to ride the momentum of us learning what we were doing last year into a really polished football team this year.
That's awesome. And what's something this year that you changed? I know you whittled a little bit. You moved them around.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say a ton has changed. We've actually probably tried to simplify things a lot, so we are able to take people that are playmakers and move them around from position to position. We've taken some things off of some people's plates. We have, put a little bit more on our quarterbacks, and I think, Logan has done a great job with it, Hamza as well, of being able to pick up on some of the extra stuff that we're putting on them. But from a skill player position, our running backs and receivers have gotten it a little bit easier this year. We're trying to take a little bit of thinking out of their day-to-day game-in situations, but we're able to move guys like Elijah around and have him a little less predictable of where he's going to be and what he's going to be doing.
Any special ideas with Mr. Clutch, Aiden Robinson?
I think that we have special ideas for all of our guys. I don't know that,
He's probably going to kill me because I keep mentioning his name.
Yeah. Listen, he's not going to kill you for talking about Aiden, I promise. But no, I don't know that we necessarily have to come up with a design plan for anybody in particular. We mentioned Elijah, but we had the conversation with our playmakers the other day of, we've got a lot of guys that need to touch the ball. We mentioned Elijah. Coach Brown went through all of our receivers. We've got Trevor, we've got Ben, we've got Aiden, we've got E. We also have a tight end that's really good that you're going to hear a lot about, Joel. And then we've got a sophomore that you may hear about some on Friday nights, just depending on our situations, Garrison Cheek, who I cannot say enough good things about as a young guy. He's looked really good. He's a young guy, at least on Thursdays. We know he's going to be a playmaker, but you may see him slide in on some Fridays too.
And speaking of that, both varsity and JV, Coach Brown and I are going to talk later about the scrimmage, but I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about you, mainly the receiver role. I saw both JV and varsity. There's some pretty daggum good receivers out there.
Yeah, we're pretty deep on both sides, JV and varsity, in that position in particular. So it's really exciting going forward, especially as a guy that loves to coach receivers. I've got some guys that can make it happen. I've got guys that can take the top off. We've mentioned E. All of the guys that we have run really well. Ben, Trev, Aiden, all those guys are screaming down the field. Joel at 220 pounds is a 4'6", 4'7" tight end. He can really go. He ran the 100-meter hurdles. We got athletes all over the field, and then our JV guys are the same way. We got guys that are really going to develop. They take coaching well, which is a big part of it. It's one thing to be athletic. It's another thing to be coachable, and they are.
Any standouts on JV right now?
Name one. So we've got Jaden Sproul, who's playing really well for us right now. We had a couple of kids that moved in from Arizona. They just did a full.
I kept hearing the sideline going, them Arizona boys.
Yeah, they made a full family move and came. So the receiver is Dallas, and Dallas is really technical. He's a physical guy. All the guys love to block. We got a sophomore, Connor Rauch. I've already mentioned Garrison Cheek, who's had a great summer. Braylon Little is out there for us as well. So we've got some guys we can move around and do a lot of really good things on the JV.
And let's switch over to your offensive coordinating side. You're a pass heavy, I feel like, but now you finally got some running backs that you can really just open up that gap to do both, and you can spread it out if you want to.
Yeah, last year may be a really bad indication of what my overall philosophy is in terms of calling plays. Early on last year, we made a couple of guys that were probably receivers play running back that had never done it before. They were uncomfortable with it. We had some injuries hit us early that hurt. And then as we brought DJ up and Quincy got comfortable with the offense, you started to see that we could move the ball on the ground. So I do get a reputation of a pass it first kind of person, but as long as we're moving the ball and we get it in the end zone, I do not care how it gets there. And sometimes there are a lot less variables. We're just putting it in the running back's gut and letting him go with it. So hoping we get a little more balance this year, but I think we're versatile. We can do whatever we need to do to win.
And from what I see, I feel like every play, there's a pass option in it.
Yeah, so we have a really versatile offense. Again, I'm going to let Logan and Hamza and the guys we have under center make a lot of decisions for us based off the looks that we're getting. A lot of it's going to be in their hands. I trust them enough, and Coach Brown trusts them enough to let them, kind of be the play callers on the field. We have a play called, but they have options to, I'm not going to use the word check, but look around and see what we have within our offense, where if a pass is there, they can take it. But most of the time, we're going to try to put it on the ground and get 3 yards a clip and a cloud of dust.
And is Quincy a junior or senior?
Quincy is a senior.
Okay, but it's pretty awesome to have a sophomore running back like DJ.
Yeah, DJ's a big body kid. He's done a really good job, going from a freshman who was just bigger than everybody, that could kind of bully everyone, to now, he is a varsity football player. So he's done the right things to prepare himself and prepare his body to not just be a big kid that runs hard, but actually, pack a little punch with him too. I can't say enough good things about all of our guys in the weight room. They don't dodge it. They take it on head first. They take some reminding every once in a while, just because, they're young men, they're high school kids, they want to socialize and float around, but they get in there and they get after it. They really get to work.
Speaking of reminding, you just reminded me of another title you have, strength and conditioning coach.
Yes, I am. I'm very, very proud of that one at Asheboro. The weight room, the new weight room, the city of Asheboro, and everything that they've done, all the donations have went to a great place, and they've did a great job.
And what has it been like seeing these kids? Because I feel like they've taken a big jump, and just the gains of weight.
Yeah, so, getting strong is great. It's got to translate somewhere. They're bodybuilders that can't play football, and they're strong and they look good, but it's got to translate. So we've really focused on not only getting bigger and stronger, but more athletic, and we've really encouraged multiple sports as well. We want all of our football guys to do something else, whether it's basketball or wrestling or baseball or track in the spring. We want to make sure that they're getting other skills that can translate to football. It's been a big emphasis for us, and I think that's paying off.
And anything excited about this year?
I'm excited about everything this year. Yeah, there's not enough that I can say. We had a lot of changes at school last year. Of course, our staff came in, and I was excited to be here last year, but everything is buzzing in the city of Asheboro, and I'm really looking forward to getting the season started.
And since I don't have Coach Parrish here, I want to ask you, what is it like to have a young guy like Zach Blackwell, who's been really hitting it hard in the weight room from what I've seen?
Yeah, again, I can't say enough about our entire group working out. Zach's done a great job, but the rest of our offensive line as well. I think they know that in order for us to be successful, it starts up front. We can talk about those skill guys all day long, but if our really good quarterback doesn't have time to get it to our really good receivers, or they're not making holes for our really good running backs, then we're done before it starts. And it starts with them, and they've really taken it on. Coach Parrish has done a great job with them, and I think they've got a mentality that they're going to move the line of scrimmage.
And as we wrap up, Coach, any advice to parents listening, other coaches, youth football coaches? Where should they start? If they got a kid that's wanting to be quarterback, receiver, lineman, what's your advice?
We have a couple of good youth programs here in Asheboro that you absolutely should start with, between the Raiders and the Junior Blue Comets. And we've had an opportunity to work with those staffs this summer at a couple of camps, and the kids and the staffs are great, the kids are great, and I can't say enough good things about them. And we want to push kids that want to play football into those programs, and then just let them play whatever at this point. They don't need to just play football. Learning football and getting a feel for it early is great, but man, we want them playing everything. We get basketball guys playing football, and there's basketball footwork drills that help with football. There's coordination in baseball that is going to help with football. Track, obviously, you get faster, it is going to help. So let them do everything right now, but if they want to get involved in football, there are two great programs in Asheboro they need to get involved in.
That's 100% accurate. And you actually just gave me an idea while we were talking. You said you're done with popcorn, but hear me out.
Okay.
What if we do a video, Coach Nance in his robe, wooing as he's popping the popcorn in the concession stand, and we open that up every game.
Anytime you put Coach Nance in a robe, I think people are going to get excited.
Yeah, that's true. Our next interview is going to be with Superintendent Dr. Woody. Let me ask you something. How much does it mean to you and the kids as a whole, as a staff, to have a superintendent who's right there on the sidelines every time you look?
Listen, I turn down the sideline, I see our principal, I see our superintendent, and coming to Asheboro City, I had never experienced that before, and it's awesome to turn and see those guys that essentially is your boss and his boss that are there rooting for you every Friday night. The kids see it, they notice it. We've got the biggest fans in the world, and those two guys that is everybody's boss right there next to us. Coach, or I say Coach Moody because he's been a coach for so long, but Dr. Moody, he gave me a play call against ER last year. Amari Godwin went and got one over a kid's head on a backside fade, and that came from that guy on the sideline. I mean, he's a football guy. We've got football guys in both of those roles, and Dr. Moody and Dr. Woody, and it's awesome to experience that.
If you really want to be entertained, just watch Dr. Moody on the sidelines. It's
Absolutely.
very, very entertaining.
Yep.
He gets into the game. It's a fun time. Well, thank you, Coach, and we'll move on to Dr. Woody.
Thank you.
This next interview of Inside the Blue Comets Locker Room is sponsored by Too Tough Athletic Performance. Too Tough Athletic Performance is working hard to keep all Asheboro and Randolph County's athletes in the game. Too Tough helps athletes perform at their best, all while taking care of their bodies. Follow Too Tough Athletic Performance on Instagram or give Ryan Hill a call at 336-460-0527 for more information.
It's an honor to have you.
Thank you, Jonathan, so much. I'm excited to be here. Really, really excited.
So my first question, non-athletic, how do you get these kids and this staff to buy into what you believe ACS should be?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for letting me come out and be here tonight. I want to just shamelessly, there's an awesome group of fans out here. Can we just hear the fans one more time? All right. I would say there's something bigger happening than certainly Aaron Woody, and certainly, even our leadership, and even a lot of our staff. And there's a lot to be said about a lot of that. We're in a really special place, a special community with lots and lots of support. And I'm choosing to believe, we have a lot of partners out there and a lot of friends. And you're right, we have a lot of haters. And it's pretty funny that we're 1-9, but we got so many haters. Because I think people see that some really special things are happening, and it's a special time for Asheboro. So one of the things Dr. Moody has done, one of the things that our leadership has done, has really tried to reinstill in the last couple of years. We've been through some hard things. We've certainly been through a pandemic, through construction things, through prolonged challenges and some calamity, certainly in our world and in our community. But getting our kids to believe and to have a sense of pride, and that it's everyday talk, that's high expectations, that's building relationships that are centered on love and a belief that our kids can achieve. I'm wearing something on my bracelet. I've probably seen 30 of them tonight, but it's this thing here, #one and only. We have leaned into this concept. We're the only Blue Comets in the world, and we should stick our chest out and have our head up high and take pride in that. And I think as we model that as adults, as we model that in a community, our kids feed off of that. And I could talk at length about that, but so proud of our young people. So I think it's organic. It's also strategic. We have to have high expectations of adults, and as an adult, and then hold our young people to high expectations, because that means we believe in them, we love them, and we have every hope that they're going to do great things.
And academics is important, and you've shown that since you've taken this job on. But talk to me about athletics. What does athletics bring to the school system?
Yeah, so again, I think one of the things we try to talk about is we try to talk about pride. We talk about being a proud Blue Comet. We talk about giving our best. We talk about that. First off, there's no vacancies in Asheboro. We're open for business. We're open for young people that want to come. And we've actually seen a lot of families make some choices. And there's all kinds of great choices out there, but we believe we're the best choice. So we've seen a lot of families come back and new folks to our community. What it means from academically, I could talk at length as well. We're seeing tremendous progress. In many ways, our school district parrots our athletic programs, whether it's soccer, football, basketball, volleyball, and we're going to have a great season.
You just had a W last night.
Yeah, we had one. We're having one right now, but that's another story. But they do go hand in hand, and as we get young people involved, certainly in athletics and extracurricular things, and we have young people coming out, being part of a student section, a cheering crowd, being part of the band, finding a way to contribute, that spills over into academics. I want to tell you something, Jonathan. No, there's two things I'm going to tell you nobody knows. One hasn't even been announced yet, but I'm going to announce it. Our graduation rate this year, our seniors that graduated, 310 graduates walked across the stage in June. 90.8% was our graduation rate. That's the highest in 6 years, the second highest in 10 years, and that's 6 percentage points higher than last year. That's a huge thing, a huge. And I will tell you, it's hard to pair off athletics and extracurriculars and all the things and say that that doesn't impact that. I can tell you for a fact, strategically, that made an impact on our graduation rate. It makes an impact on our attendance. It makes an impact on our students' behavior. I'm going to tell you another thing nobody knows. Dr. Moody knows this. We did not have a single athlete last year at Asheboro High School that was academically ineligible.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's unbelievable, right? So I could go on and on and on. They go hand in hand because it's about school pride. It's about being out in the community away from school and being proud, whether you're at the mall or you're in Greensboro, wherever you are. People are paying attention and saying there's something special in Asheboro, those blue Comets. And I've always heard and I've always thought if you got some haters out there, it means you're doing something really, really good. And we're getting some haters, and that's actually pretty exciting, John.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you talk about Dr. Moody. So when you brought Dr. Moody over, was it because Woody, Moody?
Yeah, exactly.
People get it confused all the time.
Yeah, they do get it confused. I won't make any. I'm losing my hair. Dr. Moody kind of somewhat made a choice to lose his. His is going to come back, but I'm the better looking of the two. No, I tell you, tremendous respect for Dr. Moody. Again, just like our program, sometimes we go through some ups and downs. This is I'm starting my 6th year as superintendent. It's crazy actually how fast. And my 9th year here in Asheboro City Schools.
Nice.
And we've had our struggles. Struggles are part of the work. I knew about Dr. Moody. I'd watched him from afar. He was extremely successful in Rockingham County. He was extremely successful in Guilford County as an assistant principal. And we started having conversations when we knew we needed to make a change. I was so impressed with his discipline, with his high expectations, with the way he thinks strategically. And then it was just this amazing icing on the cake when he told me, and it's the truth, that he grew up here. He always wanted to be a Blue Comet. He graduated a Grimsley Worley, but we don't talk about that. But he bleeds Blue Comet blue. He loves our kids. There's a couple things that he said to me in private early on in some conversations. It was about high expectations. It was about working to create a new culture at Asheboro High School. And he was going to do everything it took to support teachers, but the teachers then had to make sure they had the high expectations and they did their job to support students. And he's been true to his word. Second thing he said publicly in his first staff meeting, I happened to be kind of around the corner and poked in, and he told our staff, look, it's a new day, we've got high expectations, a lot of clear routines, but look for the good. Go looking for the good. There's all kinds of people that are cursing the darkness, and we're going to light a candle at Asheboro High School. We're going to light a candle at Asheboro City Schools, and we're going to go out of our way and look for the good. The third thing he did, he met with all the student body that the first week that he was principal, freshmen, sophomores, juniors. He came down hard on the seniors, but I was so impressed. He went to the juniors, and he definitely went to the freshmen. He said, this is your school. This is your school. You're going to own this school. You're going to behave the right way. You're going to take pride. And I'm going to show you that I love you. And he has been consistent doing that. And quite frankly, as he's gone through a few challenges of his own, the students and the staff have rallied around him in a way I've not experienced in my career. And we talk about love in Asheboro City Schools. We talk about love because it does mean doing the extra, going further, doing the hard things. And folks love Dr. Moody because he's been about integrity, he's been about doing things the right way, and he has built meaningful relationships. And the expectations are still high, Ryan, right? So I have high expectations for him. He has high expectations for me. Our Board of Education has. There's all kinds of expectations because we are on the cusp, Jonathan, of really turning the corner and doing something really, really special. Because, again, something special is happening here.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being on here with us. I appreciate it.
All right, I could talk for another 30 minutes.
You're good.
But,
Well, I think, is that a promise to come back
people
on
are
this season?
asking for their check. Thank you for letting me come on.
Awesome, and hopefully we get you back on this season.
Absolutely. Go
Awesome.
Blue Comets.
Thank you. All right, we got coming up next, Mr. Ben Luck.
This last interview of Inside the Blue Comets locker room is sponsored by Great State Real Estate. Looking for your ideal home in the great state of North Carolina? Explore Great State Real Estate, where we match you with homes as wonderful as our state. Visit us at greatstatere.com for the latest listings, and don't forget to like us on Facebook to stay updated on new properties. Let Great State Real Estate help you find your perfect home sweet home.
All right, we're here with Ben Luck. I feel a little cliche saying this, but I feel like I've known you all your life.
Yeah, you have. I've been young.
So how's your dad not got you into wrestling yet?
I don't know. I guess I've been tall, so basketball. I wrestled 1 year in 7th grade, but I wanted to quit. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No.
Too much contact?
No, I thought it was stupid.
So what did you love from football, Cone? What did you love about football? What made you want to stick with football even in high school?
Just my brothers played it, and my dad always talked about it, and just like the physicality of it, like make you bigger and stronger. And it's just really fun.
That's awesome, man. And you play both sides. What is it like having to take that switch of offense, then going to defense, back to offense?
Well, I feel like Coach Handy puts a big emphasis on us receivers to be really good blockers, and I feel like obviously no safety coming up making a tackle.
You're the last line of defense, man.
Yeah, I know. Get past me, it's bad. They score a touchdown.
And everybody knows it.
Yeah, but I feel like just when the game starts, just really having a mentality like I have to go up there and just be a dog. Play as fast as I can, hard as I can, and just leave it all on the field until the game's over.
And you're coming back as your senior year with a bunch of great teammates. You got Aiden, Logan, Woodle, just a few of your good friends. What was it like knowing it's your senior year with your brothers?
Yeah, I think the senior year, last year, I mean, kind of sad, but I think it's going to be really good this year. We have a lot of playmakers, good quarterback, really good receivers, good running back, and I feel like we all really have a tight bond. Like even when like Logan and Aiden first day was here last year, we all knew them. We took them in, obviously they're us. We just love them, and I feel like we're tight brotherhood here.
And honestly, it was a tough 3 years. I mean, before Coach Brown, even last season, 1 win, 2 wins, stuff like that. What have you seen different this summer that makes you excited for the football season?
I feel like just our intensity. We really wanted more this year because, I mean, obviously everybody knows 1-9 isn't good, but we're a better football team than 1-9.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody in the county knows it, and we're just really going to prove it to people this year that we can really do it.
And you really were in pretty much every game last year, except 1 or 2. I know it's got to be discouraging, but what did you take away from that as a learning point to this year?
Just really, again, just playing hard, and like Coach Brown said, we were winning or down by 1 touchdown going into the 4th quarter, and it's just being able to finish and just get over that, I'm tired, I'm sore, because at the end of the day, I mean, we want to win football games, and that's the plan of everything, so we want to physicality and just be tough.
Any games you're looking forward to this year?
Probably homecoming, senior night, and probably all these people in the county, because they think we're bad, but I feel like we can all beat them this year in conference, of course. Certainly all of them.
Yeah?
I'm looking at all of them.
Okay. So my last question for you is, what is next for Ben Luck? Is it college baseball? Are you a baseball guy? Or what are you thinking pursuing next?
Yeah, I like baseball. If I go somewhere, probably somewhere smaller.
Okay.
I'm not that good of a ball player. I wish I was, but if that doesn't work out, who knows? I really want to go to NC State, see what that's all
Oh,
like.
you Wolfies, man. Yeah,
I know, go Pack.
Well, thanks, man. Look forward to having you. Can't wait to talk to you this year, man.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
See you. We got next. Nancy's over here giving me a look, man. I got the look. Next, we got Mr. QB Logan Laughlin. All right, we're here with QB Logan Laughlin. How you doing, my man?
Good, how are you?
Good, man. Senior year. You excited?
Yes, sir.
How was that scrimmage? You feeling good?
Yeah, it was great.
So, what goals have you set for yourself this year going in?
Not the interceptions.
Not interceptions.
Running the ball, taking off when nobody's open.
Just trying to become more of a blue threat quarterback this year.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so speaking of interceptions, we had 13 last year. What did you learn? And not all your fault, I've been at the games, but what did you learn from those mistakes to take into this offseason and work?
I'm just not forcing the ball, really. I mean, trusting my guys and putting the ball around like they could get it. Last year, I feel like I didn't put it in the best spots, and it was a turnover. So just really putting it in the best spot for them to go get it, and I trust my guys to go get it. So that's what we're going to do.
Speaking of your guys, you got some pretty awesome receivers, man. How does it feel to have that core group that you can throw it and go get it?
I do. They work really hard for me, and every Saturday I come out and throw, they're always there. So they work really hard in the weight room too. So I just put the ball in the air, and I know they're all going to get it.
I think we got a video clip of you in the weight room too. I think Coach Nance came running behind you screaming while you're bench squatting, actually.
Yeah, he just pops out of nowhere. I mean, he don't do nothing in gym class anyway. So
He just disappears even.
he just leaves Luther in charge.
Somebody gives him
So, speaking of that, what this year you got anything about that O-line? You got them set. I told you last year to get Dr. Bowie to let him walk you to class to protect you every day, but has he done that yet?
No, not yet. We had talked about that.
Yeah, man, you gotta go everywhere they go, man. Give them some good Christmas presents, man.
They work really hard for me, and I'm super proud of them.
Have you been close to any of them? Any good friends?
Me and Spivey joke around a lot, and Jonah, he's my center, obviously. So me and him are really close and together all the time.
So what this year having that O-line, how important is it? I mean, you're the QB, man. It's your life on the line.
It is. They do a really good job in the weight room and trying to protect me. I don't like getting hit, especially in the pocket. So they do a really good job and just continue to work hard and just keep me safe.
Yes, that's pretty key right there, man. Especially, but you got also two great running backs that you have to hand it off to. They're looking pretty impressive this year.
They do. DJ and Quincy do a really good job in the backfield, especially in the passing game too, like check downs. And I trust them to get the ball in their hands. They're gonna make really big plays.
And how much you trust them on that run ball?
I trust them so much. In the scrimmage against Trinity, they were picking up guys that were blitzing, and I was able to get the ball off.
You actually, I saw you tuck it and take it upfield a few times, man.
I did. Just, I don't know, just not forcing the ball. And I'm
it looked good. You got some good highlights of it, man.
Yeah, Coach Handy worked with my speed, so.
Okay, and is that the off season, just weight room 24/7? I mean, every time I reach out to you, you're either working out or you're on the football field, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, me and my dad work really hard, so, since my freshman year. So.
And that's awesome, man. Any potential interest? What's next for Logan?
I'm going to go try to play college football. Some D2 and D3 schools have been looking at me, so anywhere I can get on the field.
And we got one of your threats coming up next, Woodle, man. Any advice how to handle him in this interview?
I don't know. He's super slow.
You think you can outrun him?
No.
Well, thanks, man, for being on this, Logan, and I'm sure we're going to have tons of highlights and interviews with you this year, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's give Logan a round of applause.
This next interview of Inside the Blue Comets Locker Room is sponsored by Sports in the Boro, here to help every athlete gain the high-end footage for the low-end cost. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube and book us for your video today.
All right, so senior year, my man. What is it like? You put up some numbers last year, not only football, but basketball as well.
Yes, sir. I'm very excited for this year.
I keep forgetting you're an all three-sport guy right here.
Yes, sir.
So you corrected me. I said 10 TDs, but you reached out to me, and I felt bad, but it was a defensive touchdown. So you were right. I was close, though. I was talking about offense. So it was 10 offense, 1 defense.
I thought it was 10 too until I seen the post.
Yeah, you corrected me, though. But you didn't answer my question. How many will we get this year?
We'll see. I don't know yet.
Oh, I'm thinking 1,000 plus receiving, 15 touchdowns. Does that sound good? Sounds pretty good? Yeah. Seems like a good idea. So let me ask you something. In that locker room, you're very vocal. The guys kind of look up to you. Do you enjoy that? Did you just take on that, role on your own, or how did that happen?
I mean, all the guys, we all got a good connection with each other. And, it's not that they listen to me, but we all listen to each other.
Yeah, but, I mean, you lead by example when you're out there on that field, man. When they score that touchdown, I mean, I have a clip of Zach Blackwell picking you up, man. I thought he was going to throw you up in the stars, man.
Yeah, I just built a great connection with them over the time. And Zach, I've known him since, daycare. So he's always been looking up to me, even though he's, 3 feet taller than me. But
he's a big boy.
Yeah.
He keeps growing.
Yeah.
He keeps growing. So one thing I noticed this year when I was watching the scrimmage, you're not just playing on the outside anymore. They got you at slot, a little bit of everywhere. What's it been like making that adjustment?
It was something, all right. But it's a lot of plays to remember. But when it comes to game time, it's going to be more helpful and useful.
And how does it feel not have to play both sides?
That's very awesome. I thank Handy for that, or whichever one of y'all made that decision. But yeah, I think that's going to be a good change.
Are you going to be on special teams? Do we know yet?
Oh yeah, I'm on special teams.
We returning? Is that what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that means we're going to go up 20 touchdowns now since you're playing special teams.
If we get the blocks.
If we get the blocks, I think the blocks will happen.
Yes, sir.
But so my next question for you is: you do football, you do basketball, you do track. What's next for Elijah Woodle?
I haven't made that decision yet, but My dad said wherever the money come from. So that's what we're gonna pick.
I love it. I love it. Show me the money. But dude, you put up numbers in all three, man. Even track. I mean, you did some damage last year. Is there one that sticks out more than the other to you, or?
Right now it's between football and basketball.
Okay.
Track's like a fallback option.
Are you just saying that because Nance is sitting right next to us? Is that why you're saying basketball? You can tell me. No. Okay. So, is there anything next step? Are you talking like when do you think you'll make that decision to? You're gonna let us know first, though, before anybody else, right?
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
All right. So you're excited. You know, I don't want to jump off the football too much, but I mean, you're also going into basketball season. You're a leader as well. What does it feel like to know that you're going from back-to-back sports, being an impactful player?
It feels great, to be honest, because like being a leader, you have to take a lot of responsibilities, but at the same time, you can get things how you want it to go.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're going to be really excited. I mean, I have tons of great footage of you last year, not only football but basketball. I feel like I'm going to have to make a montage this year of Elijah Woodle highlights, man.
Yes, sir.
But dude, I appreciate you being on here. We got next is Dr. Moody. My question for you is, how amazing is it to have a principal like Dr. Moody who understands athletics, who will go beyond to make sure you guys are not only good in academics, but gives you what you need in athletics as well?
It's great having Dr. Moody in the school, for real. I talk to him a lot. I've texted him over the times and stuff, and we just joke around in school a lot, but he keeps me straight, and that's somebody I needed in school, for real.
He told me he could outrun you too. I don't think anyone can. What did we say your 40 was you told us earlier?
On hand time, I ran a 4.29.
Jeez.
And on laser at the combine, I ran a 4.36.
Man, you're like a cheetah. I don't think Tyreek Hill's got anything on you, man.
Nah.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you being here. I'm sure we're going to have tons of interviews this year with you, man. I'm excited, man, and love and respect, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's give a little round of applause. Easy peasy, man. Somewhat. You got it.
I want to thank another sponsor that helped make this happen, and that is SportsTone.net. Find scores, schedules, standings, and other information about Randolph County sports at SportsTone.net.
Appreciate you coming on here, Dr. Moody, kicking off season 2. Really appreciate just in general you making the time for us here. Tell us a little bit about who you are, your background. I know you played college ball, but before that, just tell us a little about.
Grew up here in Asheboro. My parents were both teachers here at Asheboro High School. Dad was the football and baseball coach. My mom actually started the swim team here. Part of the reason why we moved from Greensboro back here to Asheboro, my dad, this is his hometown. He grew up on the Knob and whatnot, and so was a good athlete here. He went on to play NC State, but back
Is
when
that
I
why
was,
you and Nance are so close, man, that state ties?
well, that and my brother played at State as well. He played football and baseball there as well. So our family are a big wolf pack, even though my Uncle Daryl went off the reservation for decades there and was a coordinator at Carolina for a long time. But
Go Hills.
no. Anyway, so no, but our family, we're big Wolfpack fans, and so. But then we moved back here when I was in the 5th grade, and then my dad got out of coaching once my brother stopped playing, or actually once he graduated. Obviously, then at that point he got an assistant principal's job at Grimsley High School, which is how I ended up back in Greensboro and ended up going to Grimsley. So. But Asheboro has always been home to me. It's a special place. It's something. Just I was telling somebody the other day, and I was talking to Doug Pugh, who I grew up with playing for them in Little League football and Little League baseball. Richard Pugh. I don't know if you know anything. Our thoughts and prayers are with their family. We lost him just a few days ago, and how integral their whole family has been. Not only to Asheboro High School, but all of Asheboro youth sports throughout the decades. I mean, I remember growing up playing, Little League baseball down at Nance Field, at North Asheboro Park, and then, Tuesday nights were Little League football, Wednesday nights were middle school, Thursday nights were JV football, and then Friday nights were, the Blue Comets came on, and everybody, and that's the things I remember growing up, which is what makes this such a special place. So then once I finished from Grimsley, I had a chance to play quarterback at the Naval Academy for 2 years. After I left there, I
You
ended
say
up.
quarterback? Mm-hmm. All right, Logan, you hear that? You got a little pressure, man.
He and I have thrown a few times, so but he's got a better arm than I do now. So,
Now, though, right? Not in the past.
well, I mean, I could sling it a little bit. I was more of an option guy, but anyway, and then I transferred from there to the Citadel, and that's where I finished playing football down at the Citadel. So.
And what drew you to Asheboro, this job? I mean, you could have been anywhere, but you chose here.
Again, like I said, Asheboro is such a special place. I mean, when you look at our kids and you look at our families and you look at what it is and what it means to everyone. And one of my favorite things to do is to walk into, when we have grade level meetings every single year, I ask our students, I'm like, raise your hand if your parents or you had a sibling or a family member that went to Asheboro High School, and every one of them, boom, hands go straight up.
Awesome.
That is very rare in today's world with so many families being transient and moving all over the place, that you have so much of a long line of blue Comets. And so that's something that we say is extremely special about Asheboro High School and what makes it such a special place.
Yep.
Where I grew up playing around in the gym and things like that, now my kids are doing the same thing.
That's awesome.
There were guys that I looked up to, and my 8th grade son, he thinks Elijah Whittle is a god. And so, like, every day, how's Elijah? He's fine. He's okay. But the neat thing about it is that our kids make our youth feel important. They see them, and our kids enjoy going to watch the games, and our kids do such a great job of representing Asheboro High School and representing our Blue Comets that it made it a very easy decision to come here. And then meeting with Dr. Woody, I think that was the biggest thing that sold me on here, was the fact that when I started talking to him and our vision for a school, our vision for what we wanted to see as a district was the same, and so we're both very competitive people, and we want to see us as being the best school in the state, bottom line. And so, we were in a tough spot when we came in. Our school was low performing. We're no longer that. We're now close to one of the highest rankings we've had as a school. And so, now the sky's the limit. So we just set our sights for higher things.
And my next question for you, taking on an admin role at a high school level, it's a lot. I mean, a lot of times you see either the staff love them and the students don't, or reverse. But for you, you've got nothing but love and respect from the whole community, the student body, from your staff. What does that mean? I mean, what's the secret sauce? How did you make that happen?
I think the biggest thing is just being authentic and running things the way. A lot of times when you're administrator, if you say one thing and then do something else, you can get in a lot of trouble, Or if, a lot of people as administrators, they don't want to say no because they don't want to deal with conflict. I don't really have a problem with conflict, but at the same time, we don't look for it. But I think the biggest thing that we say, and what I made a point to understand, is that we have extremely high expectations for our students. We make sure that they understand, like, when you go to Asheboro High School, this is how you act and these are the things we want you to do. Not because we're trying to be punitive to you, but because, no, when you come here, you got 4 years to determine the next 40 of your life, And so we want our kids, every time they graduate from Asheboro High School, we want them to be able to go do what they want to do, not what they have to do. And so that's an easy sell. And the biggest thing I always try and make sure that I tell our teachers, I tell our staff, and I tell our parents, I don't work for parents. I don't work for staff. I work for our students. And every decision we make is what's best for our students, not adults. Because we all went to high school at one point. They're living in their high school right now. They don't get another chance. Tell our kids all the time, you can't go back at 21 years old and say, I want to go back to high school. It's kind of weird, kind of creepy, but they don't let you do that kind of thing. So, you only get one shot at it. So we try and make it the best possible place and building a culture in which students really want to be there. And so I think that's something that's extremely important to us. And it goes over into all aspects of our school. Like I said, we don't want to just be good in football or be known for basketball or soccer or baseball or whatever. We want to be known for, we're the best. You say, all right, which program has the greatest arts program? Well, Asheboro High School does. There's other schools throughout this area that are cutting arts programs we're adding on. And so I think that's something that that we try and make sure that people understand is that while other people are trying to draw back stuff, we're always pushing forward and trying to get better.
Love it. And as you're pushing forward, as we get close to wrapping this interview up, you took a battle, man. You came back, I mean, not just in work, but in life. Can you talk a little bit about that in your journey?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So it was around March. I was at school one day, and some of my admin team, we were in a meeting, and I said, I don't feel real good, so we had to go to the hospital real quick. Got there, and I got a scan, and at that point they found a mass in my chest. It turns out it was lymphoma, and so over spring break, we were, myself and my girlfriend, we were down in Florida with her family, and on Good Friday, it posted in my chart, which if anybody works at the hospital, they need to change this, okay? Because you don't want to find out on Good Friday, as you're about to watch NC State basketball play, that all of a sudden it says highly indicative of cancer or lymphoma. And so at that point I realized, we were going to in for a battle. And so you try and think that you're prepared for anything that life throws at you, but when you hear the C word, you're like, oh wow, this is going to be unique. So asked the doctors what caused it. They said there's no rhyme or reason. People just get lymphoma, and we go from there. So then had to come home, started cancer treatment, spent about how many weeks? 4 weeks? About a month? Yeah, we spent about a month in the hospital, in and out. I had to go to the ICU at one point because once they started treating the tumor, it just kind of exploded. Okay. And so that caused a lot of complications, and so it was a little touch and go there for a few days. So I spent about a week in ICU, then came back out and kept fighting and going from there. The biggest thing about that was just what it did to reinforce my love for this place. The outpouring of support and the love and the prayers that continue even today made you realize how special Asheboro is, how special this town is, and I kept getting, Elijah and I would text back and forth every once in a while. Amari would be texting me as well. And you start realizing, like, there were days you'd be down, and all of a sudden Elijah would send you a text, go, hey man, I love you. And you're like, yep, I'm good. We got this. I'm gonna fight through it. So I think I'm forever grateful for this town, and I'm forever grateful for our kids, and I'm forever grateful for our staff and community. For the amount of love that they've provided me, my family, and my children during this very difficult time. But the good thing, all the prayers worked. If you don't believe in the power of prayer, I'm sitting here right in front of you right now. The only thing I lost was hair, and so
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Thank you. So I've got another scan in September, but the last one they did, everything was clear. So I got that one right before graduation when I was able to come back on June 8th. That was one of the best things I've ever been able to do was to come back for graduation that day, because that's our Super Bowl, to get them watched across the stage.
Especially we heard from Dr. Woody earlier about the numbers and stuff like that. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah. And that goes back to our staff. I mean, it goes back to building the culture where we're again going to do what is best for our kids, and so making sure that they're successful in the classroom, outside the classroom, and in life, hopefully down the road. So
that's awesome. And what does it feel like knowing? Because you could have took the road to the left and say, you know what, I'm just going to go take another job that's not stressful, all that. But you said, you know what, I'm coming back.
Oh, I mean, I wasn't going anywhere. Like, this place is awesome. So, and it's just, it's when you find out what you're supposed to do in life, it's like anything, and I tell kids this all the time. There's days that it can get old, and you walk out and you're going, I don't know exactly what I got done today. And then all of a sudden there's days and there's interactions that you have with kids, and they have wins and losses. But the big wins, I mean, the wins in education. My dad and I say it all the time. The wins that you have in this career path are so much greater than you could have, selling medical devices or something like that, right? Yep. But the losses are even greater. And so I think that's the thing, is realizing that, you always have to look, like I said with Dr. Woody, you always have to be, you can find bad things, but you always got to be looking for the good things and trying to find what's best in your school and best in our kids.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you for coming on this episode. Hopefully we can grab you again for another one.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love doing it.
We're about to get back with Coach Brown. Any advice as hassle him for this last end of this episode as we wrap up?
No, I mean, I'm forever grateful for Coach Brown and his staff coming over and being and coming together. When we started to change and a transition with our coaching staff, I talked to him early on and in the process, and then when we started looking at like, hey, he's the guy. Like this is who we want to lead our program. It was not selling the fact of wins and losses. Those will come. We understand that, right? It's selling the fact of we're not just trying to build a good year. We're trying to build a program which is a family-built and a family-oriented program, in which we're going to be successful. And Coach Brown, he bought in that vision, and we've all, jumped on board, and the community has too. I mean, you look at the outpouring of support that we have from our scoreboard, all the different things that we're trying to do, and there's more things coming. So we're very excited about that. But not going to put all that out there, but then, and all the way through the weight room, and how hard our kids work, and the amount of support that we want to provide them as well. So
that's awesome. I'm excited to see you out there on the sidelines this season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll be there. All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We're going to wrap up as we come right back after this quick commercial.
Are you looking for an atmosphere where you feel you belong like Friday Night Blue Comets lights? Coach's Neighborhood Grill is the place to be. Plenty of room for your family and friends to enjoy a good quality meal with a great team. Coach's Neighborhood Grill, proud sponsor of Beyond the End Zone, Blue Comets Football Podcast.
Before I forget, Coaches brought their Blue Comet Burger back, so if you haven't had it, make sure you check it out. It's delicious, I might add.
I had it tonight. It's good.
Did you? Yeah. And I think did I hear that right, Terry? Did we get a little bit of a promise here on something? Terry, she told me that if Woodle does 15 touchdowns, did we say steak? Steak, you get a free steak on us over here.
Him and Logan get it.
Him and Logan, right? Logan, you hear that? You and Woodle, 15 TDs, you get a free steak.
Don't tell him that. He might try to throw it to Elijah every time. We don't want that. We got to spread it around.
Awesome. Well, and don't forget, what did she tell us about the playoffs, Coach?
Once we make the playoffs, the whole team gets free entree coupons, right? Up to $15.99. I told her to get her coupons ready because in 3 months we're coming to collect them.
Is that right, Aiden? Everybody, we're in the playoffs. We're getting the playoffs, $15.99. We all come here and do it again. I think we gotta get Aiden on next time. I keep mentioning his name, but he keeps staring me down, so I'm getting a little scared. So I don't know. All right. As we wrap up, I want to thank. We said their name over and over again, but Tony with SportsTone.net. Find your scores, schedules, standings, and other information about Randolph County sports at SportsTone.net. And SportsTone has really just made a really awesome impact in this community. I mean, even at Providence Grove, I know you know Tony and what he's done, and his whole business has just grown. And to me, it's one way to really market these kids, something that they can go back 20 years from now and see those highlights of, Woodle, Aiden, Logan playing days, listening to themselves throwing touchdowns.
Yeah, SportsTone and Tony, they've done a great job just investing in all of Randolph County sports over the last, 5 years or so, somewhere around there, and 7 years. I've had the pleasure of working with him through that whole time, through interviews and different things, but just them covering games, and it's just not football games. They're covering everything now, from volleyball, basketball, baseball, softball, and it's great. Soccer. Yeah, so it's great for the community. Getting to hear games and things, just the radio atmosphere of it, not just getting to write up in the newspaper. You're getting to listen to it live if you can't make it, so that's pretty cool.
And I want to real quick just give a round of applause for Tony and Brandon Laughlin. 2 of our sponsors are here. I just want to thank them for helping us make this happen, because without them, we couldn't have these cameras. I wouldn't be able to have this. And then also, let's give some love to Terry for letting us be here at Coaches. She's been, like I said, believing in this podcast. This is their 2nd year coming on as a sponsor. So Coaches, we couldn't do it without you. So we appreciate you.
And we got her an Asheboro shirt tonight.
Yeah, we got her an Asheboro shirt. Terry's in an Asheboro. Miss Eastern over here. All right, so we just got done talking with Dr. Moody as we get wrapping up a few more questions, Coach. Man, what an interview. Dr. Moody, man, he's one of a kind, man.
Yeah, he was able to come out to practice today for the first time this summer and watch our guys for a little bit. And so I had him at the end speak to the team. And when he got done, I told him they just don't know how fortunate and lucky they are to have an administrator like him. Not many high school students are blessed with that. What he does for our entire school, our athletic program, and the stuff we have is because of him and his leadership. So our young men are very, very lucky. We're lucky as a staff, and it just makes our whole culture and our whole school kind of grow together.
And I mean, it's awesome to have that because, I mean, I had a pretty good admin myself, Dr. Finch. You remember that dance, don't you? Good old Dr. Finch. It's cool to see Dr. Moody, what he's doing, even his roots back to Asheboro. I think that's kind of really unique when you have someone come back here who was an Asheboro guy.
Yeah, he loves Asheboro, one and only Blue Comets. And I'll be honest, I had no intentions of ever leaving my previous job. And my conversations with him, we just had the same vision for what we wanted in a school and a football program. And I just believed in him, and luckily he believed in me. And we're going to make this work. We've committed to each other, and we're going to see this through, and we're going to be very successful at Asheboro.
And I got to ask, what did y'all do with Nance to get West Luther to come over here?
That was something that everybody wanted, was West Luther at Asheboro High School back. That was a huge bonus for our entire school, what he does. A little shout out here, I mean, people have seen it. We've got youth basketball camps all the time. And that's something that, Coach Nance has kind of turned over to Coach Luther and let him do. And he does an excellent job. And I know he gets you to come help. But him organizing and getting that is great for our community and our youth.
And that's awesome that I know he's a Southwest guy, but then became an Asheboro guy. And then he went Providence Grove. Now he's back to Asheboro. So I tell you what, if you want to be entertained, sit in a room with Nance and Luther, and I promise you, you won't stop laughing that whole time. Now, don't record it because we don't want to get in trouble, but you will get a good laugh. All right. As we wrap up again, as I said 100 times, but talking about scrimmage against Trinity, I noticed you changed your defense a little bit, looking more like a 4-3.
Yes, me and Coach Hunt, our defense coordinator, kind of talked this offseason. We just felt like our personnel made us a better 4-3 defense. We've got the defensive linemen to do that. We're long and athletic with our defensive line, and we've got so many of them. We just felt like that was a good change for us to make. Not as deep at linebacker, so we kind of made that change. We still will hop in a 3-4 every once in a while just to kind of confuse offenses a little bit. We are versatile. We can go back and forth pretty easy. We've been working both of them all summer. But we feel like the four-man front is going to be better for us just because of our personnel. And so we kind of made that change. And I thought we looked pretty good against Trinity the other night, our defense. We had a few missed plays here and there. But I'll say this, we played a 2.5 hour scrimmage. Our JV and varsity, nobody ever gave up a touchdown. So I was real pleased with where we were at. We were playing fast, and we were a lot more physical this year than we ever were last year.
And I saw some changes on defense. Aiden from linebacker to corner. What made you decide on that?
Aiden is a natural corner by default last year because we were just having to play people what could best help us. We had to play Aiden really out of position. He didn't mind. He did whatever we asked him to do. But he's naturally a corner. So the fact that we could get him back to his natural position this year because of our depth is going to make us better. All around.
He's a yes sir kind of guy. Whatever.
Yeah, he just wants to be on the field and he wants to do whatever to help us win. And that's how all of our guys are, and Aiden's one of them. But us being able to get him back to corner is going to make us so much better. And it showed the other night. He made some plays that we wouldn't have made last year from the corner position. Not in the passing game, but in the running game coming up from the edge. And that's going to help us big time.
That's awesome. He's another one. If you get him, Ben, Logan, Leighton, all them together, they're entertaining too to hear. I have to tell them, hey, this camera has audio. All right, let's move on a little bit. So you got a good duo, man. Those receivers we talked about, but you have a tight end we really haven't talked a lot about that's literally could potentially dominate in that position this year.
Yeah, Joel Barrett is a guy that, at tight end, I know Coach Handy touched on it earlier. He's 6'3", 220 pounds, and runs a 4.7 40. He's so athletic, catches the ball really well. So in the passing game, he's a huge threat for us. But he also, we noticed the other night, his run blocking. He's taking guys and taking them 10 yards downfield and putting them on their back. He's so strong and physical. He's going to be a weapon for us. And then he's a guy that will play two-way a little bit as well. He's going to cause havoc. He's part of our defensive line that's long and athletic. And I think he's going to have a major impact on both sides of the ball.
And, you know, we talk about varsity, a little bit JV, but I was really impressed not only with varsity but JV in your scrimmage, man. You got a bright future if you keep those young guys together, man.
Yes, we have a lot of talent with our JV group. So much. We meet as a staff every day after practice, and sometimes we're at a loss on what to do because we've got so many guys, and we're trying to figure out how to get them all on the field, which is a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But you know, with our JVs, all that young group, I think we've got 28 freshmen in our program, which is a good number for us, and there's some big time future players in that group.
And as we approach the season, we got a game coming up, week 1, against Albemarle again, who have 2 returners who put up quarterback and running back about 200 each on rushing. How are you prepping for that to make sure that don't happen again?
Yeah, their running back's really good. He gave us fits last year. He's a guy that I think just with our up front, our defensive line, we can contain him a little bit. Their quarterback is scary. He actually didn't play against us last year. He was hurt. But he's a coach's son, and so he's pretty smart, and he's extremely fast. I think he won the 1A state championship in the 100-meter dash, so he can run. So we've got to keep him in the pocket and can't let him scramble and get loose. And if we can do that and maintain those 2 guys, I think we'll be all right. One advantage I hope we got is going to be up front on both sides of the ball. If we can dominate with our offensive line and defensive line, that's going to help us out.
And then you got to turn around and play away. Two away games, Coach, in a row. That's kind of tough, but what made you just go, all right, let's do it?
Well, unfortunately, the schedule was made before I got here. We signed 2-year contracts a year in advance, so it was done 3 years ago. But that's just how it kind of fell, going to Albemarle and Eastern Randolph to open up. And that's fine. We had them both at home last year to start with, but we'll be fine. Going on the road, our guys can handle that. We'll be fine.
Well, you beat Albemarle first one, and you had Eastern till the red zone in the 4th quarter. So I think I'm excited to watch those 2 games.
Yeah, we need to get off to a good start. So these first 2 games are going to be important for us. Obviously, you know, we can't let the Albemarle game, we can't look past that because they're a huge threat. So if we, you know, go and play well against them and come out with a win and go into Eastern Randolph, that's going to be a big one for us. You know, big rival county games will be a big one.
And the date is what, August, 23rd for Albemarle, right? So let's pack it out. All our listeners, make sure you hop in the car. I know it's a little bit of a ride, but hey, you got great scenery if you just take 49 and on down to Albemarle.
That's right. It's not that bad of a drive.
What is it, 40, maybe 45?
40 minutes, maybe.
Depends. If my wife's driving, it's going to be 30, but...
Everybody can stop by Coach Nance's lake house at Baden Lake on the way.
Yeah, everybody, we're going to go to Coach Nance's house. We'll party after the W. There we go. Also, make sure everybody comes out for Thursday night to watch out the JV because they're home, correct?
Yes, our JVs are at home next week, so they'll start the season off, and our JV team's really good, so we're looking forward to see what they can do.
So Thursday, Friday, 2 nights of football. Make sure you're there, and it all coach stems down to these youth programs. You got Sam's, great coaching staff at Sam's. You got I call him the OG Chester Gary over at NAMS. I mean, the future's looking bright, Coach.
Yeah, I love our 2 middle school programs. You know, what Sam's did this year, the staff they went and put together with Coach Masterson, Coach George, and Coach Brewer. So them guys are going to do a great job with our middle school team, teaching fundamentals and getting them ready to come to the high school level. And then Coach Gary over at NAMS has been doing it for a long time. Coach Gary has really bought into what we're doing at the high school. He's at our practice about every day trying to pick up things and what we're doing and learn from us. He seems energized and ready to go. So I'm excited about both of those. And then you got our youth programs and what both of them are doing with the Raiders and Blue Comets. So we're excited about the future.
Anything you want to say as we wrap this up and hit that end button?
We're just looking forward to this season. We hope that we get a huge support this season from our fans and everyone in the community. And hopefully we'll have a good year.
Let's pack it out. Away, home, everywhere. Preseason, whatever, any event. Let's start packing this out, guys.
I think we got a team that's going to compete this year, and I believe the Asheboro community is going to come out and support and travel, away games, home games, everything for a football team that's going to compete and be competitive. So we're looking forward to it.
Should we go ahead and mark on the schedule Coach's Neighborhood Grill the day after you make the official playoffs when you make it?
Yeah, that sounds great. We'll come back up here.
We'll tell Terry. All right, Coach, I think that's a wrap on our kickoff of Season 2 of Beyond the End Zone Blue Comets Football with head coach Calvin Brown. We would like to thank Coach's Neighborhood Grill for not only being our sponsor, but for allowing us to host this event. Hopefully you all had fun. There's actually a karaoke night on Tuesdays here. Coach, I think we should try that next.
You know, I think Elijah Wood will love some karaoke. So we'll get Elijah up here.
Elijah, yell your song.
I think I'll pass on that one.
You don't know what song you do? Coach, what you go to then?
Who, me?
Yeah, you too.
Me? No,
Elijah,
Elijah.
come on, what we got? Anything? So, all right, we're calling it. I'm going to pick a random song for Elijah Woodle. I'm thinking Mama Tried. I don't know. You know that song? Aiden knows it. All right, well, I hope you fans enjoyed it. Make sure you go check us out on Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube, along with following Asheboro Football on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks again for listening to the one and only All Access podcast on your Blue Comets football. Until next time.
This episode was sponsored by Coach's Neighborhood Grill. Make sure you go by and support them for their support of Blue Comets football. Are you a business wanting to support Beyond the End Zone, Blue Comets football podcast? Don't miss your chance to be a sponsor for this all-access podcast on your Asheboro Blue Comets. Contact us at sportsintheboro22@gmail.com and learn about your sponsorship opportunities. Again, that is sportsintheboro22, all one word, @gmail.com. Contact us today.